Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Not only are we coming up to the 8th of March International Women's Day, but today is Friday, so that's always a good day to meet and have what we hope will be what I know will be a very interesting dialogue, but what I hope will also be useful for you and you know, time to relax a little bit, grab a coffee if you haven't already done so, and we'll hear from our panelists. Just a couple of things at the beginning. Obviously, if you could please keep your microphones on mute unless you want to ask a question. The running order will be, I will introduce the panelists and let them introduce themselves. Then I'll introduce the conference and our talks, and then we'll have some. We'll hear from our panelists about some of their experiences around leadership and women in leadership. At the end, then please, I would ask you if you have any questions or comments, or you'd like maybe to give some examples of your experiences, please feel free, and I'll open the floor for you at the end. Just a technical thing. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a button with for the languages, for the translation. So if you click on it, you can see you can listen in English or you can listen in Ukrainian to the translation. So that's just make sure it's not on off, because you won't hear the translation otherwise. Okay, then I think we can get started. And again, just a very, very warm welcome to all of you. And here we are today to celebrate, obviously, International Women's Day, but to talk a little bit about supporting and enhancing women's role in leadership, and celebrating the contribution of women in leading roles, particularly in this COVID pandemic time. And also, we want to honor the professional contribution of women in law enforcement agencies, as well as civil society, as key actors in these crisis responses and in the work that's done in these institutions. So to start with, I will introduce and ask our panelists to introduce ourselves. So first we have Ms. Oksana Polna, who is head of the Lviv branch of the National School of Judges in Ukraine. And Oksana, if you would like to say a few words of introduction.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you for this honor and for this pleasure to be with you in order to discuss and think together about such important things which we face every day in our work as women, as leaders. Should I say something about myself right now, or just a welcome word? So I welcome everyone. I'm happy to be here. My name is Oksana Polna. My work experience is 16 years, and I'm head of the juvenile department in the National School of Judges, and I'm in this position since 2014. So that's it for now.
Thank you very much, Oksana. Welcome. And then we have with us as well Ms. Olga Iuskevych, who is the Deputy Assistant of the Head of the Main Department of the National Police of Ukraine. And she is also a representative from the Ukrainian Association of Women in Law Enforcement, a very important body here in Ukraine. Good morning, Olga.
Good morning. I'm happy to welcome everyone at this conference. Unfortunately, it's happening online, but we hope that this is temporary. I hope that it's going to be interesting. I will try to share some interesting facts from my work, from the functioning of the national police, about the role of women in law enforcement, etc. So wishing you all a good day.
Thank you very much, and welcome to you too. And then we have Ms. Maryna Puhachova, who is the CEO of an NGO in Mariupol, Berehynia. My apologies for the pronunciation, Maryna, but good morning, very welcome.
Доброго ранку.
Good morning. My name is Maryna Puhachova. I'm very happy to see everyone, and I welcome you. And it's a wonderful day. I'm happy to have this opportunity to take part in this discussion. Since 2014, I work as a human rights advocate. And first of all, we fight for the rights of women. I hope that today's event is going to be interesting, and I will share with you very important things. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Maryna. So it's very good to have you all here, and thank you for taking the time to join us here this morning. And of course, thank you to all of the people from EUAM who have joined. It's great to see so many people online this morning. And thank you, Oksana, for having the daffodils in the background. It really shows that spring has arrived. Wonderful. So before we move to you and hear from you, I'd like to just say a few words about the importance of International Women's Day and some of the current issues that we face with gender inequality and the need for recognition of the women around us. Our mission, the EUAM, the European Union Advisory Mission, is involved in the civilian security sector reform process. And gender equality, of course, is an intrinsic part of it, as are human rights, which you just mentioned there, Maryna. It all goes hand in hand, of course. We support Ukraine in developing sustainable, accountable, and efficient security services. And one of the main aims of this is to restore the trust of the Ukrainian people in their civilian security services. This is vital in a democracy going forward. We've been here since 2014, and we have men and women from Ukraine, from all across the EU, from many different backgrounds here supporting with this work. Why do we celebrate International Women's Day? I mean, for me, growing up in Ireland, it was not a day that was a holiday or something that we celebrated for many years. But in the last 15 years or so, we have started very much to celebrate it. As we all know, women are underrepresented in many areas, in business, in politics, in law enforcement, in CSDP missions. And for this, we have to recognize so that we can find ways to resolve the situation. And of course, it's also true in Ukraine that women are underrepresented in many areas. Ukraine, we know from various studies, experiences a gendered segregation of labor and significantly fewer women in leadership positions. Again, this is across the world, the entire world. In the security sector, and we'll hear later on a bit more, there's about 20% representation of women. And in the leadership positions, it's only about 12.5%. When we consider that 50% of the population, of the world population, are women, it's quite a low number of representation. And International Women's Day, it's a reminder to us that we still have a long way to go to reach gender equality in these public institutions and in society in general. Equality between men and women and among men and women, it's one of the EU's founding values. Working for gender equality, it's core to the EUAM mandate as well. For a successful reform of civilian security sector, there are many ingredients necessary, many things that we have to do, but I'm just going to mention 3 of them now. There is no one size fits all, but we know that leadership is critical. So gender responsive leadership is one of the main ingredients that we need to get towards gender equality. The importance of strong leadership cannot be overstated. It takes both men and women's situation into account, and it makes sure that we're looking at the needs and the challenges for both men and women, which are different. We also recognize that the consequences, the impact, whether it's security, whether it's the pandemic, the consequences or the impact are different for men and women. So obviously, if we only listen to one version, then we miss a huge part of the picture. So this is one of the reasons why it's so important that we have men and women in leadership positions when we're defining and deciding the way forward. Just as an example, during the COVID-19 lockdown, we know that women and girls have been exposed to increased and different forms of security threat. And the lessons that we've learned is that increased diversity and gender balanced leadership is an essential requirement in making sure that this how we prepare, how we work through the pandemic and the responses to it are done in a very good and inclusive way. Another major ingredient is inclusivity. So having this inclusive approach, we want people to have trust in their leadership. We want people to recognize themselves in the leadership. And to do this, we have to make sure that we have men and women, not just in the room, not just in the groups, in the parliaments, in the boardrooms, in the NGOs or the academies, but actually at the table and involved in the discussions and the decision making. So this is absolutely vital. And another very, very important ingredient is perseverance and persistence. This talk about gender equality has been going on for a long, long time, but we still have a long way to go. And to fight the stereotypes, to smash these stereotypes, we have to be aware of them and we have to be aware of the consequences and we have to respond to them and we have to be proactive. So we need to bring them to light and then deal with them. And if we think about, for those who have kids, I mean, for your boys, for your girls, when they're young, you want them to be able to look and to see themselves in all of these various roles and to see that they have the opportunities to achieve different things as they wish. So today, and this is what we're getting to talk about, it's about challenging some of these beliefs, showing you and letting you hear the experiences of these women who we have here today, who are going to talk to us and show us that these stereotypes can be broken and what women can bring to the table as well. And our message, a very key message for us today, is that EUAM will continue to express its support for gender equality in security sector reform and in Ukraine. And now we very much would like to hear from you and your experiences for our guests. So we thought about it, we discussed, and we came up with 3 questions to start with, and then we can elaborate a little bit. But the first question, and I'll ask each of our panelists maybe to start with this one, based on your experience, why is women's leadership important? Why are we even talking on this? And let's start in Kyiv, and for this one with Olga. And we'll move on to the others then.
Це дуже така велика честь для мене виступати.
It's a great honor for me to be the first, but at the same time, I understand that it's necessary. I'll try to be laconic and really brief. Why it's important for a woman to be a leader? Judging from my own experience, I would like to say that we all doubt how strong we are and whether we are capable of anything, because there are certain stereotypes. Unfortunately, those stereotypes are given to us from childhood, from kindergartens, and adults always demonstrate that you have a certain role in the society as a woman, and so it's coming back. It dates back to the Soviet Union, but it was long time ago, and right now I hope we do understand what the gender policy means and how important woman is for the society and its feeling of own dignity. And my own example and my colleagues, I can talk for hours actually explaining it, because we have extremely interesting personalities, women who are inspiring, who are supporting, who are providing support. And the most important thing is that we have different positions in organizations, and we are not all managers or senior managers. It's not necessary to be a manager, to be a senior manager, to be a leader. It's important to have internal harmony, to understand that I'm doing the thing that I love, that I'm inspired by, and every day I'm going when I'm going to work, I actually smile because I feel satisfied with life. We talk to each other, we support each other. So it's very important to support each other. I've been working with the police for 6 years already, and I joined police after the Revolution of Dignity. And frankly speaking, I was kind of mature already. I was 27. I had 2 university degrees already, and I had some professional experience. I had family. I have a child, and everything was okay with me. And at that time, I felt that I actually made the fool of my life. But at the same time, in my country, there were events which actually changed my outlook. I decided to join police when the reforming started, and I've been with the police since 2015, and I'm one of the first, so to say. I am from Kharkiv, but then I had to move to Kyiv, and I was supported by my family, by my relatives, by my former colleagues, but at the same time, why I'm talking about men. For example, my husband always supported me in improving myself. His goal was for me to feel satisfied with life, and to be enjoying the thing I'm doing. And when I decided to join the police, he said, if you are so fond of rescuing everyone, if you want to help everyone, why don't you do it kind of officially? Why don't you go to the organization which will also will help to save Ukraine? And that's how I joined police. And he supported me with dignity. So he was taking care of everything around our life. I'm not this type of woman who is doing the housework, who is keeping the house clean, etc. I have my work. I have my hobbies, but frankly speaking, in the family we have duties distribution, and it's not a burden, it's an enjoyment. So my husband deals with the family issues and I deal with professional development. And when I started working in the police, possibly because I am full of initiatives, or because I have certain understanding and certain education background, I was made the head of one of patrol police in the city of Kharkiv, and it was quite an intense time for me. I was the second woman, so to say, because Katerina Kanaivza was the first woman to be the head of the patrol police, and I was the second woman because I had over 1,000 of subordinates under me. But in this experience, when you become such a manager, when you face such challenges, of course, I felt afraid, I felt scared, and you start doubting yourself. You start, we lost connection, it looks like. So you start doubting whether they are going to cope or not, and I'm so sorry for the lost connection. It happens here. What's important for us is not to doubt ourselves, not to doubt that we are capable of great things, and unless you start something, you won't be able to understand whether you are actually capable of doing it. The team of people who think alike, and so will and professionalism, they actually can create miracles. And women women actually can reach higher levels. So returning to the association, so it's one of the clauses that was very important for us. We understood. I'm really sorry. My daughter keeps calling me. That's why we lose connection from time to time.
Real life, Olga.
Yes.
So when we got united with the other women and talking to other countries, colleagues from other countries, we understood that the issues we face, actually, we as women face, regardless of the country, regardless of the continent, regardless of what's happening in the country, they are much alike. The scale differs, but the problems are the same. So the association was the platform for people who think alike, who would support each other morally, professionally, psychologically, for each member association, both male and female, for them to join us and develop this association and help each other. So this is my brief reply to your question.
Thank you so much, and excellent, and thank you for your openness. I think you touched on a couple of things there. The insecurities, you know, sometimes we're asked, how do we deal when women are underestimated? And I think we are the main ones who underestimate ourselves, and this is, I mean, it's proven by studies, by academia, that compared to men, women do tend to underestimate themselves at various stages, but it's good to recognize it. It's good to recognize that this is an issue, and then there's ways of dealing with it. And I think, you know, your point that you do not need to be a senior manager to be a leader is a really important point, because we are constantly talking about the role and responsibility that everybody has in these issues, and that, you know, everybody has to look around them and can be a leader in this area. So it's very good to hear these points. So let's go south. Maryna, your experience and your views on why women's leadership is important.
Дякую. Ну, хочу сказати, що, ви знаєте, для мене взагалі лідерство – це поєднання.
You know, for me, leadership is a combination of reason, perseverance, self-development, and other aspects. And all of this is combined in one woman. So a woman can be a leader. When our organization was created, and it was about 2014, 2015, when the military conflict broke out. And in Mariupol, there were a lot of IDPs. And first of all, women with children. Why? Because they were leaving the cities because of the war, and their husbands would stay in those cities to keep their jobs and to earn money. And our organization was created by and from among IDPs and volunteers who appeared in Mariupol. Afterwards, men joined us. I would say that our organization is unusual because even though we are a women's organization, we have both men and women working in our organization. As the head of this organization, I would say that gender equality is important for us. And for us, equality means the same treatment, equal treatment, both to women and men. And I heard, I think, of gender responsibility. There is such a concept, and I think it's relevant for us. Why? Because we believe that a woman is worthy to be equal to men. We don't use any quotas. Our women are the same good specialists, equally good as men. So they can compete for any position on the same terms. Why is women's leadership important? Because we have the right to it, because we are part of this planet, of this globe. And if the population of this globe is 50% men and 50% women, it stands to reason that we women have to be represented and we have to be leaders. Perhaps when it comes to management, men make decisions faster and more straightforwardly. But for a woman who is a leader, the most important thing is the atmosphere in the team spirit, so that the team would feel safe and protected. Because for a woman, the concept of safety and security is very important. And for me as a leader, it's very important to make sure that my team feels safe and secure. Sometimes we visit towns and villages on the contact line. So for me, always the first question, the first priority is to ensure that my people are protected. We do our best to ensure maximum safety and security. So women who are leaders focus on safety and security a lot. Also, why did we get organized so fast? Well, because we have been working on this since 2014. We were able to adapt quickly. Women's leadership has its own peculiarities. What are they? We women leaders And I'm speaking not only for myself, but also on behalf of women who are heads of various NGOs and who created various NGOs in 2014, 2015, 2016. For us, the goals of an organization are very important. A female leader will always pay a lot of attention to the goals. Why is this important? For me, it's the answer is simple. If we are equal, we have to be there. Sometimes other people have their own arguments to prove the opposite, but I dismiss them because being a lawyer, I just say we are entitled. We have the right to be equal and to play an equal role. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Maryna. Absolutely the having the right and being very firm in that. Maybe the question we should be asking, not why is women's leadership important, but why isn't women's leadership important? I mean, it should be a given, of course, that women are in all these roles and participate. And I think it's interesting, you mentioned that although your organization was established by women, you have both men and women now in the organization. So you have that role for men as well there. Thank you very much. And then let's go to Lviv then. Sorry, Maryna, you wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say one thing. In our team, I'm a doctor, for example. Oh, we have a doctor and he is a man. Why is it a man? First of all, he was the best specialist from those who agreed to work along the contact line. And when we had to decide who this doctor is going to be, we weren't thinking of any gender aspects, because for us, the most important thing was the qualification and the skills that the person had to offer. And for me, this is equality.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this is where you mentioned it. It's about having the opportunities and that everybody has the equal opportunities. And then, you know, from that, of course, you take, you look to see who fills roles in the best way possible. Okay, Oksana, please, let's hear from you on your experiences on why women's leadership is important.
Дуже дякую за запитання. Чи мене добре чути?
Thank you very much for the question. Can you hear me well?
Yes, very good.
Personally, I actually gave it a great amount of thought. Why about leadership and women, and then I started thinking in a different way, and I started asking myself why I'm asking this question. Can a woman be a leader? So I decided that not all women understand that they actually can discuss it. For example, in my personal experience, I saw that many women were satisfied with a good diploma or a golden medal from a school, and we decide to become housewives. We decide to devote ourselves to our family, and for some women it was more than enough. And I always kept asking myself a question, why? Because I couldn't, for the life of me, understand it. And I was brought up in a family when we had my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and nanny, and also my elder sister. And because my mother has always been working, I always remember her moving. She's always been the head of something. Everyone kept asking her for help and for advice. Colleagues, relatives, for example, how to prepare to cook some dishes, or whether it's necessary. It's a good time to exchange rubles into currency, for example. And I could see whether she was overstressed or not, whether she was intense or not. And she always had a good network of contacts. She had her own hairdresser, she had her own manicure specialist. And becoming an adult and growing up, I started thinking about a woman, being a leader, being a manager. I understood that my mother was actually a proper leader, a natural leader, but she had a balance inside her. She was in harmony. She didn't overestimate anything. She didn't underestimate anything. It was her right. When you have a wise balance in your life, everything works out. And for me, it was kind of a personal model in life. She was good in all the roles, as a specialist, as a mother, as a wife, and I can actually admit that my mother was a leader, and it became a very important discovery for me. When I grew up, I understood that I am a woman. I have a female soul, female emotions, and I have lots of empathy, and I liked being a woman, frankly speaking. I loved my female energy. I loved creating comfort around me, and I thank God for what and who I am. And of course, I understand that we women have a very difficult life. I, for example, have 3 sons, and I wake up very early in the morning, and I'm dealing with all the household chores before they wake up. So we're preparing breakfast, sandwiches, and actually I always forget about my morning coffee and it's getting cold, so because I'm running around the house, and you're doing washing up, you're doing cleaning, and then you start thinking about what to wear, because you prepared some clothes for you in the evening, and then in the morning you change your mind, and then you start thinking about school and kindergartens, and about subjects in the school, and for example, my eldest son says he hates physics because he is going to be studying genetics, and physics is not necessary for a genetics engineer. And so what I'm driving at is that we women have a lot to cope with. We hug, we give hugs, we empathize, we love, we give love. As one of as Irina Belovucha, one of the Ukrainian writers said, that it's a titanic effort to be a woman, and it's also a huge happiness. So for me to be a leader and to be a woman is they're intertwined for me. I'm not asking myself why, how it can be different. So women can always be leaders, especially those women who actually give themselves fully to what they are doing, and as Maryna mentioned, and I believe all this stuff is actually genetic in us. Thank you.
Thanks so much. That's yeah. Sorry, did somebody want to speak? No, we're okay. Thank you very much, Oksana. Yes, absolutely. You make some really excellent points. You know, when you talk about your mother and the leadership, you know, of course, we mention about leaders talking about workplaces and that, but as you all mentioned, I think that you don't have to be in a business, in an institution, or at a high level to be a leader. You know, this is we see leaders in every walk of life, and it's so important to recognize that. And the point you make as well, you know, to recognize the differences. We all want equality, but we recognize that there are differences between people, between individuals, and everybody brings their skills, their strengths to the table, and that's fantastic. And you touched a very important point as well about, you know, the role of women in society, and we all know that you know, when it comes to the family and to caregiving, that generally women do tend to take more of a role in that. And so that, of course, impacts if they choose then to go out to work outside the home, that can have an impact. But I think, Olga, you mentioned it, that your partner is so supportive. And I mean, this is one of the things, you know, to where you have a partner, or as Maryna mentioned in her organization, you have both men and women there, that everybody takes a role and supports each other to get where it is that we're trying to get to. So excellent. Yeah, really, really good points. I feel the time is moving on far too quickly, but we're not going to rush. I mean, we don't have to finish exactly at 11, but I just, you know, you all touched a little bit on, you know, the situation we're all living with at the moment. With COVID. And we know with that as well, of course, that this has affected men and women differently. And Maryna, you mentioned very, very rightly that the safety and security is such a key issue. And now with COVID, how it impacts differently. But what has been your experience as a woman, as in your life, in your workplace, in your family? How has it been for you during this time? And Maryna, as you mentioned, if you want to start.
Дуже дякую. Ви знаєте, я хочу сказати,
Thank you very much. I'd like to say that there is a phrase, whatever does not kill me makes me stronger. So this situation with the pandemic made us stronger. In my life, I try to see every challenge as an opportunity. A challenge is not a problem, it's an opportunity. So when the pandemic broke out, my first task was to make sure that my personnel are safe. Second, to make sure that we are safe and secure. For example, when someone doesn't have a car, he or she will borrow a car from a person who has one in order to buy certain things. All this make our team more united. Also, the pandemic triggered, it's a difficult phrase to translate, but it was like a push on the back. So this pandemic really pushed us to do something that we were going to do a long time ago, but never managed to have time for this. And I mean online IT technology. So we we needed some time to change the format of our training, our webinars. And within 1 week, we taught various women in the towns and villages that we cooperate with. We taught them to use Viber, WhatsApp, and other platforms. Within 1 week, we delivered 9 training events to teach people how to use Zoom and how to use online technology. This was all under pressure, and we managed to do a whole lot of things. But I, as the leader, analyzed the situation, and I realized that this was the only way to go. So even though the government takes longer to react to such things, but we were even faster than the government. We introduced the service Ask Your Doctor. So our doctor was available to answer any questions on various platforms, including Zoom and Viber, so that there would be no panic, because when people panic, it's really bad. Panic kills us. Apart from that, you know, this crisis that started with the pandemic, it reminded us of some simple things. Sometimes when we keep running forward, we tend to forget that everyone who is on our team, it's very important to see the results of our work, because people need this for their motivation. You have to draw their attention to the results that they've been able to achieve, and then they are ready to move further. They are ready to press on. And another challenge we faced was similar to the one we faced in 2014 and 2015. And we had a breakthrough because we decided to discuss our achievements. We decided to discuss what we are doing, what use it brings, what added value we produce. And so when you praise people and when you highlight their achievements, this also makes us more motivated and united. So for us, I would say, even though it might sound surprising, but for us, the pandemic became an opportunity. So we were able to achieve a lot within 1 month, 1.5 months. And for me, this experience became quite unique, you know, wearing a face mask, because I love lipstick. And I actually learned to live without it. Because using lipstick while wearing a face mask is virtually impossible. So sometimes I look at my collection, lipstick collection. I love makeup, but okay, I just shrug my shoulders. I have to put up with it. Because of the face mask, I will have to go without it. Anyway, I press on. Thank you. So that's pretty
thanks,
much it.
Maryna. Thank you so much. And you could still wear the lipstick under the mask. At least you know you have it then, you know. So, but thanks. Thanks so much. You know, again, you mentioned there about the achievements. You're absolutely right, and this is something, you know, we sometimes we do get a little bit caught up looking at the challenges ahead of us rather than looking at the achievements and what we have, where we've come, you know, and how much we have achieved. And one of the things you mentioned about how quickly you were able to give these skills to women, you know, these technical skills that they needed at a time of crisis. And, you know, I think this is something that for leaders as well, you know, that when you're in the position to be able to support somebody with the skills or some kind of support, mentorship, whatever it might be, that if you're in a position to be able to do that, and then that supports, of course, with this with equality and moving towards equality as well. And you're right, look at how quickly we were able to achieve some things because of this pandemic. So maybe we should try to bring that over into the rest of you know, normal life as well. Olga, looking to you, I mean, being in the police, and we know this huge challenge that the pandemic has been for police in general, for healthcare workers, you know, across the board. But again, as a woman in your position, and you know, how has it changed? What experiences have you had through this?
Я повністю погоджуюсь з пані Мариною, тому що можу тільки додати.
Do you agree with Maryna? And I would like to add about police work. Yes, this pandemic, it was actually it was demanding from the entire society to change our approaches, and we need to work with internal and external audience. For example, internal audience in police, we mean our own officers, and they also wanted support, and we needed to ensure their security, their safety, and it's not a secret that the level of the illness among police officers is really high, because we are first responders. We are the first to contact people, even ill people. So we concentrated on protecting our offices, and it was also important to ensure psychological support and emotional support. We paid attention to families of our officers, and so what their circumstances are. All of us have families, husbands, wives, or mother, father. If, for example, or the entire family serves in police, and then the situation is even more complicated. And in our society, and you know that we went through difficult economic times and economic crisis, and of course it also has resulted in conflicts in families, and some people lost jobs, and we are working on it. We have several good programs. Let me think of an example. For example, peer-to-peer. It's a program which is similar to other programs. So we are helping each other in any way possible to avoid a situation when people feel left alone. Our main goal for the time being is not only to be first responders, so to say, but also to have different ways of communicating with people, general public, because many people were in the lockdown and they changed their ways of communication, changed their way of behavior, and if you maintain communication, if you maintain this level of communication, it actually reduces the tension, so to say, in the society. If people know what they are supposed to do, what rights they have, what duties they have, it makes life easier. And in the beginning, we saw the tendency of fraud increase, and we actually changed our modus operandi, so to say. So we understood that we need to make people aware of such fraud schemes. And as Maryna mentioned, for example, that frauds can be of different forms and in different shapes. And we Sorry, telephone locked. So the situation has stabilized a bit, and there is an understanding how and what to do, what support to provide and how to provide it. And actually it brought us together. It united us, and actually helped us understand that you are not alone, there is support. And exactly. I do believe that we've made a good job of it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're absolute. I mean, again, go back to that word support, you know, I mean, this is the thing, and everybody coming together. And we know as well with the situation that the role women did play in this, both men and women, of course, but we know that there were some challenges for women, which helped, which were recognized in that because of this pandemic as well. And we know as well that in some of the developments that were made and that women were in the lead with them, which also helped to acknowledge this role that they had. Thank you for all of the messages that you've brought here today. And, you know, things like being active, stepping up to challenges, recognizing limitations and looking for support, and, you know, that everybody should work together. We all have our different skills and our different abilities, and we should come together to try and move forward generally, and in this drive towards gender equality, you know, that everybody plays a role in this. And I think, you know, what we've talked about today, we know that this smashing stereotypes takes a lot of time. You know, we need visible and accessible and relevant and important role models to make sure that this happens. And whether they are the men and women in the homes who you know, support with family, with caregiving, with bringing up children, whether it's supporting broader families, whether it's in the workplace, in civil society, wherever it is, we need these role models. We know that gender responsive leadership is critical, and as was mentioned, you don't have to be a manager to be a leader. So, you know, this is really important. Inclusivity is critical, bringing people in, bringing them to the table, recognizing, and in particular, recognizing if you have women in your team or in your surrounding that you know have something to offer, but are maybe a bit slow to come forward, to support them in that and to help them to come to the table, and also to you know, stand up, take the place. I mean, this is so important, and it's been an absolute honor today to have our guests with us and to hear their experiences and their roles and how they work every single day in their lives to change these stereotypes and to support Ukraine in moving towards gender equality. I also want very much to thank the interpreters. Your role, as always, is crucial to these proceedings. Thank you so much. And thanks to Anna and David and PPID for the support in organizing this event today. And of course, to every one of you who's tuned in, it's great to see so many faces in front and to see the interest that's here for this. So with that, I wish you also all a very happy International Women's Day for Monday and a very, very nice weekend. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Дякуємо, до побачення.
Bye everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Було дуже приємно і цікаво.
It was a pleasure and it was very interesting.
Дякую.
Thank you.